Hello, everyone. It is Saturday, July 11th, 2015, and I am Jonathan, and I am your only host this weekend for Radio Tokyo. I'm sorry about that, but neither Danny or Nick are feeling too well today. Either that or they were a little bit intimidated by the topic this week, which is understandable. It was going to be conspiracies in different cartoon series. Stuff like how I believe we discussed this in a past episode, but the idea like the kids and Ed and Eddie are dead and stuff like that. We were going to talk about that and all of the Disney conspiracies and how characters show up in different series and everything. But that's not what's going to happen this week because, like I said, they're not going to be here. So I am going it alone this week, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to change the topic for this week, and hopefully next week we'll be able to get to doing. Excuse me. Be able to do the planned topic for this week. But it is the middle of San Diego Comic Con right now. The only panel that I do not have an update on that I was waiting on is the Warcraft trailer. Is the I almost said trailer. I'm sorry. The Warcraft panel, but uh, Legendary Entertainment has been there. Blizzard has been there. There's been quite a bit shown about um, the movie. What is known thus far, uh, there are actually, if you were able to go to SDCC right now, you could see this in person. There is a statue of Orgrim Doomhammer. There is a statue of Lane Wren. There's also their specific armor sets in uh, the movie. They're actually there. A bunch of props are showing up. Two posters have been released. One shows not Doomhammer, like everything. Everything else thus far has shown Doomhammer or or Ren. There's an Alliance poster that does show Ren, but there is another poster that, for a change and for a really good change, actually shows Durotan. Um, last at last BlizzCon, there was a scene discussed by Chris Metzen, which was it was more of a still image rather than an actual scene, but it showed Durotan, and it was the first view anyone actually got of what he would look like. If you have seen him in Warlords of Draenor, that's not what he looks like. He looks it's beautiful. The best I can describe him is, if you remember how Thrall looked in Warcraft 3, and for the early part of World of Warcraft, up until he got the model revamp and everything in Cataclysm. If you remember, he had these giant uh, hair braids on either side of his head. That's sort of what Durotan looks like. But there was a scene Chris Metzen discussed. That's where that image, this particular image, was taken from, and it's Durotan staring off into the distance. Draka is apparently, over his lap or on the ground. I'm not exactly sure, but she's pregnant with Thrall. Everything around him's burning, and he's looking off in the distance. And Chris Metzen described it as being a look of seeing terror and a lack of hope for the future. It's fantastic. But that's what you see to an extent in the poster of Durotan that was released this morning. Um, Also, yesterday there was it's about a minute and a half long little video. Legendary Pictures released a smartphone app as well as something for the Google Cardboard, which is a little uh, it's a viewer that you can get. It's a way to let someone see, like a 3D environment without actually having to have glasses and whatnot. It's a pretty nice idea. But there was a flyover of Stormwind from the movie that you can watch. If you are at STCC. You can watch it right now. If you have the smartphone app for iPhones and whatnot, you can watch it on there. What you see is a griffin flying in over Elwyn Forest and the road in Storm. The main gate that goes in the Stormwind. You fly in, and then you can see all the districts in the city. And if you play Alliance or you even seen Stormwind, which I think most players of World of Warcraft have seen, you can identify where every district is. The only difference that I was able to notice, um, actually, there's two differences. One is I do not remember seeing a distinct mage tower standing up above the mage quarter, but there is two buildings that are out of place. The Cathedral of Light is actually the position where Stormwind Keep is in game, and Stormwind Keep is where the cathedral is. That's about it. But like I said, it's just a little minute and a half flyover of Stormwind. It's it's beautifully done. I'm thus far pleased with all the armor and everything that's come out. But that's the only panel that I have not seen, even though I know it's taking place. It started around 4 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock, 4:30 my time, and that was an hour and a half ago. So that's the only thing I have not seen. Um, there has been a panel for The Walking Dead. There has been a panel for Fear the Walking Dead. Quite a few announcements thus far. The trailer for season 6 of Walking Dead was released yesterday. It's pretty fantastic. I actually sat on the edge of my chair watching it because I was kind of astounded by some of what I saw. Um, I would like to get into a lot of details about it, uh, but I I don't want to risk spoiling anything um, about it at all. Um, Suffice to say, it's going to be pretty damn intense. And we actually have a comment from Hi Lexi. I just saw the comment pop up. So Lexi says there is no mage tower because all the mages are still relegated to Dalaran. No teaching of magic happened outside of Silvermoon or Dalaran. Yes, you're correct lore wise, but the mage court district is actually there. All the districts in Stormwind City show up. You can see Old Town is where it's supposed to be, and it has the red roofs. The Mage Quarter has got purple, Trade District's blue, Dwarven District has got brown, and Cathedral District has got gray. Like, they're all there. Like, you can tell what it is. Even the big arched portal that was put there in Warlords of Draenor for the Everbloom dungeon it's hard to make out, but what it looks like in the flyover is trees that kind of bend, but it's there. The only, like I said, the only thing that's not there is the very distinct mage tower that sticks up above the district. Supposedly there is a scene in the movie. It was described from uh, what was available at BlizzCon last year. Uh, Dalaran apparently is not stuck in the ground in the Warcraft movie. I do not know for sure whether it's not or whether it is or isn't. But from what I understand, uh, Dalaran looks like it does in Wrath of the Lich King. It's hovering above the ground, and supposedly this particular scene actually shows Dalaran flying through the air, like angled down as if it was a plane coming in for a landing, which is kind of badass. And if you're familiar, with Warcraft lore, Dalaran was just across Lordaeron Lake from Lordaeron, capital city of Lordaeron itself. But in this, apparently, it's a floating city, and the elves were shown. But as far as what's been shown at Comic Con, I don't know. Um, but like I said, the distinct portions of Stormwind are all visible. It's just Those two buildings, the cathedral and the keep, are they're out of place. Other than that, it's beautiful. But what I was saying about Walking Dead is that apparently some things are going down in Alexandria, and if you uh, remember, from the last season, it ended with Rick murdering somebody, and then Morgan, I think was his name. I'm sorry, I slept since then. Shows up, and he's like, Rick, and then it kind of cuts. Um, that comes back into play. There is a line that is said that Rick is dangerous, and that if needs be, he can be taken out. Uh, there was not a whole bunch of spoilers or potential plot threads given away, other than the fact that Daryl may or may not be in trouble. We don't know. But there was a much more to do made about Fear the Walking Dead, which will be coming out next month. This was the first actual view anyone had of it, other than little tiny clips. You see, unlike in The Walking Dead, which follows the graphic novel, what you have in this is you see everything start to happen in the original Walking Dead series and the graphic novel. Rick gets into his accident, and he's shot or whatever, and he winds up in the hospital, and he wakes up, and the undead are everywhere. In this, you see them mentioning people having flu-like symptoms, which ties in to what Dr. Jenner said in The Walking Dead back in season 1, season 2, somewhere around there, about how the CDC discovered that it was, in fact, a disease that started it. It's something inside all human beings. So you see people, are discussing having flu-like symptoms, and it's becoming more and more prevalent, and more people are getting affected. And gradually they start dying. And there are people who die in the middle of city streets and stand up, and the police shoot them, and they will not stay down. And of course, that becomes a scare. But what you see in this is just like in The Walking Dead, the original couple seasons, season 1, season 2, somewhere around there. You see the walkers, and they're still very, very human. They look like the person they were in life. This is what you see in this, and it's wonderful, and I'm actually quite excited for it. But that will be out August. I don't remember the day off the top of my head. I have to look, but it will be out August, like next month, and then Walking Dead itself will return October 11th. So that season 1, Fear the Walking Dead, season 6. No, season 1, Fear the Walking Dead, season 6 of The Walking Dead itself. Let's see. Another big thing that was shown yesterday is the series 9, I believe, trailer for Doctor Who. There was a panel for that. I honestly have not finished watching it all the way through. I'm sorry, I'm a bad Whovian. I really am. But in all fairness, I'm actually not yet caught up on Capaldi, because I forgot for the longest time that his season, was airing. I watched the 50th anniversary. I watched, of course, his first 3, 4, 5 episodes, and then it was time for the Christmas one, and I watched that, and then I forgot about it coming back on. So I have not seen the latter half of his first season as the Doctor. But I did watch the trailer. It seems there will be some returning enemies. The giant tongue monsters, who I've forgotten their name entirely, apparently are going to be showing up. We're still stuck with Clara, She does not seem to be going away anytime soon. So a, if you're not a fan of Flora, she'll be there. Let's see. The Daleks, of course, have to show up because that's gone on since the '60s. If the Daleks are not on the show, people don't watch. So they're there. I believe there was a reference or two made to the Cybermen. I could be wrong. I have to go back and watch it. But it looks interesting, and that should be out uh, September-ish, somewhere around there. Um, let's see. What else was announced yesterday? Oh, yeah. There was the Game of Thrones panel yesterday, and in a not so surprising announcement, also, if you have not seen the end of Game of Thrones and you do not want this last season spoiled for you, mute your mic for the next, I guess, uh, 5 minutes or so. Um, but Jon Snow is dead. He is officially confirmed as dead now. The first person who was actually told, other than Kit Harington, that the character is dead was actually Barack Obama. He was told 3 weeks ago when several showrunners of the series met with the president and discussed, the show with him because Obama is actually a big fan of the series. And one of the questions he, of course, had, is Jon Snow really dead? And he was told, yes, Mr. President, I'm sorry, Jon Snow is dead. We also had confirmation that Stannis Baratheon is officially dead. Uh, the the scene in which Brienne actually strikes him with her sword, uh, it cut to black on purpose. Usually, whenever you see, in a series and something cuts to black, you're supposed to have the option of deciding whether that person lives or dies. And it was done intentionally to cut to black, but they did not go back and touch on anything else about that in that episode, if you remember. And that was intentionally to let you know Stannis is gone. Now, what happens to Brienne and what happens to Melisandre and everyone else, no one knows just yet. But Stannis is dead, and Jon Snow is dead as a doornail. Also, there was a question raised during the Game of Thrones panel about what happened on Sansa Stark's wedding night. For those of you who do not know, Sansa was effectively raped by her husband, Ramsay Bruce Bolton. What one of them? I don't remember. I get them confused. I'm sorry. Um, it was actually a pretty rough scene to watch. But she was asked about it. She was asked, "Is there a reason this is on the show? Is there a reason that violence against women is continually shown on the show?" And it's a talking point in the series. And as a lot of people are aware of, it doesn't actually sit well with a lot of viewers, both male and female. But her response was that despite everything that's happened to her, Sansa Stark is still a very, very strong woman. She has not yet given up. And she was entirely unaware when it was the episode that the camera cuts away and does not show it. She didn't know. She said that she was acting the hell out of that scene, but instead, what you see is, Reek. He's over there with this uncomfortable look on his face. And it was intentionally done, of course, like nearly like everything else in the show is. But you know, she said Sansa is still a strong woman. She's still a good character, and basically don't give up is what she was saying. It was a pretty nice statement to make. It didn't directly address what she was asked, but it was her response, and you have to give her credit, for saying, despite what you're seeing, Sansa has learned some tricks. She's still going to be a good character to look up to. I, I can live with that. Um, Also, yesterday, uh, we had the first ever appearance of Bill Murray at Comic Con. Uh, he was on a panel for a movie he is in. Everything he had to say, everything he did was absolute Bill Murray. And what I mean by that is Bill Murray has a habit of showing up at random places entirely unannounced. He has shown up at nightclubs and opted to become a bartender at the nightclub. And of course, every drink he served, no matter what you ordered, was a shot of vodka. He's shown up at places like Wendy's and McDonald's and come up to people who are eating their meal and stolen French fries and stuff from them and said, "No one will ever believe you." Uh, he's shown up at weddings and whatnot. So him showing up at Comic Con in a panel he was supposed to be in as Bill Murray was expected. But it was going to be his first official appearance at Comic Con at all, and he showed up, pretending to be a movie director, and did the entire panel as the movie director. Let's see. Also yesterday there was. I'm sorry for the pauses, but the more I talk, the more I have to get a little drink of water. I'm sorry about that. But there was a panel that Bryan Cranston was in. Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. He was in Godzilla. He's been in everything. He's a fantastic actor. Fantastic actor. Um, he was in a panel, and a fan stood up, a younger fan, 17, 18, 19 years old, somewhere around there, stands up and very nervously asks him, uh, he was asking him about his experiences in Albuquerque, and this young man grew up in Albuquerque, and he says, was there anything you liked in the town? Was there anywhere you like to go to? What'd you think? And of course, he's very nervous talking to Bryan Cranston because he's in front of a whole room of people, and Bryan Cranston looks at him and says, "Well, I did go visit your mom a couple times while I was there. Everyone in the audience goes insane. You hear the kid laugh at him, and he says, well, that was kind of mean." Bryan Cranston holds out his microphone and drops it and just crosses his hands on his lap and looks at him with this smirk on his face. It's amazing. It was actually kind of mean, but just to have Bryan Cranston tell a your mom joke, I think I might actually have seen everything I could possibly see in my life. Also, yesterday, the big thing a lot of people have been waiting for, myself included, um, the Star Wars panel. I'm not going to get into too much detail about it because there's a whole hell of a lot more stuff I had to cover just from today. But the Star Wars panel was yesterday. It actually is posted on YouTube. It's an hour and a half long or so. Mark Hamill shows up in his I just went blank. I'm sorry. Harrison Ford. I don't know why I could not think of his name. I'm sorry. Harrison Ford shows up. It's his first public appearance after his plane crash. He's fine, by the way, in case you're wondering. He's perfectly fine. But they also released some behind-the-scenes footage. And in the behind-the-scenes footage, you see views of some of the sets. Just in case anybody wants to know, there's going to be very little CGI in this. The scenes that was shown in the teaser trailer, where you see the Millennium Falcon and a couple other things, flying around, that's CGI. But there are actual physical sets for the Imperial vessels. The TIE fighter you see, I cannot remember his name, the one who stands up in the trailer and is gasping for air, the stormtrooper with his helmet off. Um, that was physically built. It was set on fire. The costumes, the aliens that are in there that are not the humans in the movie are practical. Peter Mayhew will be returning as Chewbacca, of course. Who else would it be? But it's him in a handmade costume. And they said in the little behind the scenes footage that was the thing they were not expecting to have to make multiples of. But they had to make quite a few costumes for him, for Chewbacca, because people that were in the cast, that were in the crew, that were actors, whatever, kept walking up and hugging him. Now that's kind of awesome. I mean, really, who would not want to walk up to Chewbacca and give him a hug? I'm sorry, I I would have to do it, and I'm sure a lot of people working on the costumes looked at him and said, "You know what? I just got to hug you too." I mean, it took me 2 or 3 days or whatever it is to make the costume, like because all the hairs are implanted by hand. But I'm sure they went over and just gave him a hug. It's Chewbacca, you know. But some of the set builders said it's not every day that you actually get to build an X-wing. It's not every day that you get to come to work and you're all giddy and excited because you're actually building something from Star Wars. Uh, but it looks really really good, and we got first views of a lot of things in the movie that have not been shown yet, including uh, um, Carrie Fisher as Leia. Now, I don't know whether this was just really good camera work. I don't know if it was makeup or what, but she looks like she did 30 some odd years ago when, well, upwards of 30 years ago when the last movie, Return of the Jedi, was made. She looks almost as if she stepped directly out of 1983. It's beautiful. It's really well done. Now again, this is just behind the scenes work. So she's standing there talking to somebody. She's not, she's wearing the clothes she'll be wearing in the movie, at least in one scene, and she's talking to people on set. But seeing her, you don't see the past 25, 30 years of her life where she's dealt with all kinds of problems. You see Carrie Fisher as she appeared in Return of the Jedi. The only person I did not see or don't recall seeing in the trailer other than as themselves was Mark Hamill. So, there's no idea that right now what Luke Skywalker will actually look like. Let's see what else from yesterday. My goodness. You know what? Better yet, I'm gonna get into what was released today. What came out today? Okay, I'm gonna go in reverse order as much as I can. The first thing that I'm gonna talk about is the Suicide Squad panel, which was, I don't know, an hour or two ago, something like that. It followed. Actually, no, hang on. It may not have followed the Batman vs Superman panel, but um, the entire crew. Well, not the entire crew. Jared Leto was missing. I believe the individual who plays Killer Croc was missing. Um, Ben Affleck was not on this panel, even though he's hint hint in the movie. Um, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, uh, I forget everyone else. It's a lot of names. I'm sorry, but they were brought on stage for a grand total of maybe 10 minutes. They all flew, like same day flight from Toronto to San Diego, and were there on stage just for 10 minutes, just to come in and say hi to everybody. But the phrase that was used uh, in the first few moments of this was that um, there's a lot of superhero shit going on right now. There's a lot of happy feel good stuff, and what everyone wants to see, what everyone here, it says, we're all you're all DC fans, you all know what needs to be in these movies. You all know DC has got the best villains. I'm not trying to start a war, like an East Coast West Coast war with Marvel, but DC is the best, and of course everyone starts cheering. Um, we were promised, all the DC fans, anyone who happens to like, even Harley Quinn just by herself, doesn't like anything else to do with the comics. We were all promised that we're getting what we want. Um, that said, they launched into showing the official teaser trailer, which is not, as of this time, actually available online officially. I've seen the unofficial one. So just to give a few quick responses to that, I'm impressed. Um, Most of it, was giving away the basic plot that everyone knows. Amanda Waller is eating dinner and discussing there's a threat, and we need to do this, we need to do that, we need help, blah 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 blah. Who are we gonna call on? Well, you can call Batman, you can call Superman, whoever else. No, they don't do that. No. Instead, they get people who they know will solve the problem because they're going to give them a reason to. And if you've seen anything about Suicide Squad, or anything about the comic book, the members of the squad are called that because they always go on suicide missions because they have little bombs in front of them. That's what you're alluded to in the movie. So what you see is them going, I feel comfortable saying they're all in Arkham. I'm probably wrong, and if I am, I'm sorry. But they go to where the various members who will make up the squad are located. Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, Joker, Deadshot, and so on. And they go and they speak to them, and they, pull them in, pull them all together, and they're given all of their old stuff back. Um, there is a scene where the squad is standing in a hallway. I apologize, I do not know who said this line, but he leans forward and looks around and he goes, "I guess they got all the crazy ones together." And Harley Quinn is standing there, at the end of the line, kind of laying up against the wall, chewing gum, smacking loudly, and pops it, leans forward. She goes, "Huh?" It was perfect to me. It makes her seem a little bit like a ditz, but I liked it. It fit everything else you see her doing. You see only the post Joker having unlocked her mind. Having turned Harleen Quinzel into Harley Quinn. Everything else you see in there is that. When you first see her, she's upside down in a cage, swaying back and forth, singing and whatnot. But the rest of it, you see her, in a Harley Quinn outfit, hair's dyed, smacking gum, chewing, smiling, acting like her baseball bat is a shotgun, stuff like that. I don't recall seeing much of Deadshot. Killer Croc is shown once or twice. The other ones are shown randomly. But this was cell phone footage, so you can't really see everything like you need to be able to see it. But about the last maybe 10, 15 seconds of the footage, it gets kind of dark, and you hear this laugh, just this real Sadako laugh, and you see someone walk out of the shadow, and the last image you see is Jared Leto, full Joker, broken teeth, tattoos everywhere. His eyes are wide open, and he's holding knives or something. I'm not exactly sure what he's holding, but he says, "I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you really, really bad." And it cuts to black. It's amazing. It's like the first actual time where we hear him laugh, we hear him speak, and we see him move, other than the footage that was, leaked about a month or two ago, where he is standing in front of Margot Robbie in the car. I'm happy. I'm excited. I would like really to see a lot more of the characters, and I'm looking forward to seeing the trailer when it's actually posted online and it's official. That way I can get a better look at it. But from what I saw, it looks good. Um, let's see. Speaking of Batman, oh my goodness, I'm just going to quote the Bible here. I'm sorry, but I have to quote the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. And if you know what that verse is, you know what it's talking about. You understand Jesus was insanely happy. Wow. Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice panel was today. Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Jeremy Irons, Amy Adams, Jesse Eisenberg, you name it, they're on the panel. Wow. Holy fuck, it looks good. It's geez. Okay, they had, of course, the actual trailer was shown to the audience there, and it was actually up online before I saw the rest of the panel online. Sorry about that. I saw the release trailer before I saw the panel, and I have to be honest, it's beautiful. I mean, really, I really shed some liquid pride over watching this. From watching the trailer, what Nick and Danny and I discussed a few weeks ago on the show, apparently every idea we put forth seems to be taking place. It is absolutely homaging The Dark Knight Returns, with Batman's armor set. We were told in the panel that it's not to increase his physical prowess. It's not for that purpose. It's to protect him. So you see him standing there. Okay. Better yet, I'll just kind of walk through it really slowly. You see Congress is talking, and they're discussing the idea that Superman is a threat. They don't know, it's not known where he's from, but that because that everyone's aware he's capable of destruction, and so he shows up at Congress and walks in, and they speak to him. You see flashbacks from what happened in Metropolis in the trailer, and at one point you see Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck, standing in the middle of the street, on a cell phone, looking up at a tower, and you see heat vision eyes, boom, blow a hole in it and then cut through it. And everyone else runs. It was a very September 11th type image. You see the building falling down, dust and everything's going everywhere. Everyone's running away, but you're looking at Batman. You're looking at Batman. What's he going to do? He runs towards it. And then the next scene is him looking up, holding what I assume is a dead child. And you see a sign behind him that says Wayne Financial. And evidently this was in Metropolis, and it was there. It was one of the buildings that was destroyed when Zod and Superman fought in Man of Steel. It goes forward, a little more. You see Lex Luthor talking, and he, evidently has a very special little thing, a very special tool that he has, other than kryptonite. Because yes, he's Lex Luthor. Damn it, he has to have kryptonite. Um, you see a stretcher carrying in, and a body bag is zipped open, and lo and behold, General Zod. Um, you're shown instances from Batman's past where he's talking to Alfred. You know, pieces of paper that says you stopped to protect, you failed to protect your family, and whatnot. It alludes to maybe someone knows Bruce Wayne is Batman. I'm not sure, but there is a costume that it's on screen, for just a few seconds, and it says something to the effect of "Ha ha Gotham, ha ha you failed Gotham" or something like that. Um, Ha ha you failed, the joke's on you, I think. Um, but if you freeze it and look at it, you kind of see it's not actually the bat suit. Uh, what it appears to be is a black cape and a red vest with an R on it. So it's possible that Robin has come into play at some point in time. Maybe this is, alluding back to the Christopher Nolan movies, and Robin John Blake is dead. I don't know. Like I said, you do see an older Bruce Wayne. He has a few gray hairs, and uh, he comes to the conclusion that he has to find Superman. And then you see a section of Clark Kent talking to Perry White, about this Bat vigilante, and how he's making a mess of things over in Gotham. And Perry White says, "Well, we're not going to have Clark Kent versus Batman." Kind of alluding to what's going to happen. Well, anyway, they wind up fighting one another, and of course they fight. And somewhere, somehow, in there, Wonder Woman shows up. Now, excuse me. What you're led to believe in the trailer is that they all fight one another. I don't know for sure, but I'm actually excited. I'm really excited. But yeah, it seems interesting. Now, I don't know whether they're going to be touching on. I don't know which version of the story they're going to go with here. There is a scene where you see young Bruce Wayne, his parents being shot. Excuse me. So there is a mention, of where he comes from. Now, whether we're looking at what you see in the Batcave is alluding to Batman having failed at some point in time, or having had Robin at some point in time, or what have you, it's going to be in there. Now, I mean, there's a lot of options here. But mostly what it seems to center on is going to be the Dark Knight Returns. It is not the Dark Knight Returns. You're not looking at a 50-something-year-old Batman who's fighting an immortal god. Even though that will happen. Batman in this is probably late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there, and he's been being Batman. I believe it mentions 20 years. So let's say he starts, around 19, 20 years old. So he's around 40 in this. He's middle aged. He's roughly the age he is in the comics, and that's cool. Um, but it's going to have several homages to The Dark Knight Returns, and this was actually done intentionally. Not to try and remake the movie or anything, but it was done to. Uh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Um, Zack Snyder said that it was uh, done to say. Uh, I just went completely blank again. I'm sorry. Frank Miller is a genius. That was what he was saying. Um, but apparently, I am not reading the comments right now. Uh, so Lexi says, in the original comics, Batman learned how to fight crime under the guidance of a super sleuth and was the sidekick. He was the Robin. That's that is a possibility. It may not be what happens. I don't know. Uh, but looking at it, there's so many options that you can go with. Um, I don't know, but the movie is going. The movie for once we're getting a Batman movie where we will not be focusing solely on him becoming Batman. He's established Batman. Everything's going to be flashbacks. So it's either the possibility that this is his old outfit, or it's a possibility that this is a Robin who's dead. Uh, there's a lot of options. I really don't know. But the way the handwriting is done on the costume itself and on the newspaper article that's sent to him, it looks a lot like the handwriting that was done for the Joker's tattoos in Suicide Squad. Um, and we do know for a fact that Batman will be appearing in Suicide Squad. So it's possible, there's going to be some way that's going to tie those two movies together. It was also announced today that there will be a standalone Batman movie. Not as if we haven't had one in the past, but there will be one with Ben Affleck as Batman by himself. Um, he will be directing it, he'll be producing it, and I believe he's going to have something to do with writing it as well. But there will be a standalone Batman movie. Um, in other comic news, uh, excuse me, as I discussed on the Wednesday show, um, there's been a suggestion for a new Aunt May for Spider-Man. Marissa Tomei, gorgeous woman, will she should be able to do a fantastic job as Aunt May. But uh, it was announced today that no one has seen this yet. No one's seen it yet. But there is going to be a Spider-Man costume for the Civil War coming out next year. And what we're going to have is a Spider-Man that I believe it was described as being sexier. I don't know, but since we're getting an all-new Spider-Man, it makes sense to make I mean, we have an all-new Spider-Man in the comic books. Is what I'm talking about. It makes sense, to change his look. I remember when I was fourth grade, fifth grade, somewhere around there, and reading the comics. I remember for a while, Spider-Man, whenever he raised his arms, he had spider webbing, connecting his arms to his abdomen. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know, but there's going to be some changes to the Spider-Man outfit, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, give me just 1 second. I've lost my place in my notes here. I forgot what I was going to talk about next. Actually, believe it or not, that was the last thing I had down to talk about. Huh. Damn. I didn't realize I got through everything that fast. Uh, but yeah, I'm excited for what I've seen so far. And again, the only thing, like I said at the beginning of the show, the only thing I'm really looking forward or really waiting on is the Warcraft panel. But that's been, see, it was nearly 3 hours ago my time, so anything from that should start popping up online here soon. I hope. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I hope I'm not. Um, but yeah, that's really it so far. I mean, there's been a lot coming out from Comic Con this far, and there's still still the rest of the night tonight to go, and then tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot more being discussed. But I just wanted to take a while and actually discuss um, what's gone on, the past couple of days, and try and get everyone caught up on that. But um, if anything else comes out, I'll do another episode. Possibly to do a recap the whole weekend for Comic Con. But that's basically going to be it for today. I really thought I had a lot more written down. I'm sorry, but I checked my notes. I don't. That was it. But I'm about at the hour mark right now, so that's fine. Um, that should be it. And next week, hopefully Danny and Nick are back. Hopefully they're both feeling better, and we can do the episode that was planned for today. Um, but yeah, that's. Oh no, wait, I forgot another thing. The last thing I want to talk about for today. Um, Blizzard announced yesterday-ish that they're actually going to be making a change to your garrison. I'm so excited, you guys. Oh, it's just crazy. It's going to be a major game changer to your garrison, and it will make World of Warcraft so much easier to play, other than being able to fly. What it is oh, I just can't believe they're doing this. It's going to make it so much easier. Deep breath. Calm myself down here. They're putting a shipyard command table in your town hall. Yeah. All right. Fuck it. No. That's lazy as shit. It takes you 30 seconds to go from your town hall down to your shipyard. And you're still going to have to go down there if you want to get the item upgrades for your ships. So you're going to be spending a minute just, travel time down there and back to get something to put on your ship that you could do at your shipyard, because it's maybe 10 seconds away total, if you're slow and you're lagging, whatever. I mean, the command table for Alliance is elevated a little bit, and then right below that, kind of at an angle, is the supplier thing, and then, maybe 2 seconds away is the NPC you talk to build a ship. Instead, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have a table in your town hall, right? I believe it's going to be right next to where your current command table for your followers is. So you can kind of turn your character, and like shift your mouse cursor over a grand total, of maybe 30 or 40 pixels and click something else. And then when you need to put something on your ship, you can spend 30 seconds and go down there if you're on the ground, or you can, fly for 10 seconds and get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Of all the things that people have asked Blizzard to fix, that seems to be the least worrisome thing. I mean, it would have made sense in the beginning if all of this shit was already in your garrison, but no. What we had was the art department spent a large amount of time actually working on the shipyard. They designed the ships, they designed the buildings, they put the NPCs together, and if you spend any time down there looking at it, it's beautiful. It's really well done. I'm all in favor. It's cool. Instead, we're going to be in our garrisons again. You know, like the only thing that was really put in the game other than Tanaha Jungle to get people out of the garrisons, now you have little to no reason to get down there. And it's kind of stupid. I'm sorry, Blizzard. I love you. I love your games, but that's a stupid change to make. It really is. I'm sorry. But that's supposed to be the new game changing thing that we're getting here at insert point of time. Um, we're nearly a month into 6.2. If everyone wants to be exalted, they're probably already exalted with all the factions. Uh, the FX's crystals are boring everybody, but yeah, we're gonna get to fly, and we're going to have something else added to our garrison soon. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. Anyway, that's going to be it for this week, I believe. And the Wednesday show is coming up. Uh, Actually, I'll probably do the Comic Con review on Wednesday. Just to kind of cheat without having to come up with something else. But I'll do it most likely then. Danny and Nick should be back next week. Um, and I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be a good discussion about stuff that's in cartoons that has always blown our minds for years. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Warcraft panel coming out. Everything else at the Comic Con. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Wonderful week coming up ahead of us, and I have been putting off doing the playthroughs for Warcraft. I'm sorry. I'll get back to doing it this week. I promise. If I don't, you can all unsubscribe, whatever. God, really? Please don't unsubscribe. In reality, like, comment, share, subscribe this. And thank you for watching. Thank you to Lexi for all the comments she left me, because there's about 90 comments that she's left for me to read that she thinks I'm ignoring. I'm not ignoring them. I promise. I'm listening to everything you have to say. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and commenting and sharing. And I will talk to all of you Wednesday-ish, and then the next show next week. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.